After Cleveland Cavaliers small forward LeBron James aimed his now infamous rant toward former NBA player and current TNT analyst Charles Barkley, we've all been waiting with bated breath to see and hear what Charles had to say in response. Because we all love to see two black men go at it and beef one another and make all these other folks happy and laugh and whatnot. But to his credit, Charles Barkley took the high road. He said to the Waddle and Sylvie show on ESPN Radio on Tuesday, quote, "I stick by what I said. I'm not going to make this personal. He was all whiny last week. I'm good and I'm straightforward. I'm never going to get personal on an NBA player." He then went on to go on to say about, the remarks when he heard them. Quote, "I was laughing. Clearly he did some homework. He Googled me and I found some things, and he found some things. He was young when I was playing, so I appreciate that, but I'm not upset about it. My criticism was fair, and I'm good with that." He then also said, quote, "Some of the stuff he said about me is correct. Doesn't make the message I said about him incorrect. Some of them are intimidated about LeBron, but I'm not intimidated at all." Now, this confirms something about Charles Barkley to me. Remember, he had a friendship that ended between him and Michael Jordan, pretty much because of criticism that he gave toward his, in his analysis of Jordan's job as owner of the Bobcats, the then Bobcats, now Charlotte Hornets. So, to me, this shows that this is a guy who takes his job as an analyst seriously. Okay? And he doesn't... We always say this, right? This is one of the criticisms I remember I hear a lot of people say. They say shit like, well, how come these analysts on TV don't tell like it is? When it comes to Kobe, or when it comes to LeBron, or when it comes to all these superstars, they always want to blame other people, but give them all the praise. But here's Charles Barkley actually being critical of a superstar player. When he was right, most other analysts want to sugarcoat shit. I don't agree with everything Charles says, especially when it comes to his social views, but I agree with him when it comes to this, And another thing, too, and it's fair, and I think one of my subscribers, it was either one of my subscribers or it was one of 78's. I can't remember where I read it, but shout out to whoever said this, because he's absolutely correct. Where's the hate towards Skip Bayless? If you are talking about a LeBron hater, Skip Bayless, ever fucking since this guy's coming to the league, he's been hating on him. Why aren't you aiming your animus towards Skip Bayless? Or some of these other more mainstream, even though I'm not trying to say Barkley's not mainstream, but you get what I'm saying. Barkley, to me, has been fair. He's always, given LeBron James credit, but he's also been very critical. And then another thing I got to say about LeBron, too, this isn't the first time that LeBron has gone personal with someone criticizing him. Remember, Phil Jackson said that comment, it was, posse, man. That's still something I never usually see used toward white folks. I'm just being honest, man. So I understand LeBron James' anger, but he does sound the type of person, he's not used to criticism. And you get the impression that he's probably around a lot of people who kiss his ass. Because if you're that sensitive to criticism, and then I heard some people say, well, Michael's never been criticized and Magic's never been criticized. And are you fucking insane? Okay, now I give it to you like this. Yes, it's more out there. It's more people out there because of how the internet is. Social media is more people out there making videos, yada, yada, yada. But if you're talking about the mainstream press, if anything, more people watched and listened to the mainstream newspapers than before, because newspaper circulation was much higher back in the 80s and 90s than it is now. Okay? That's what most people got their news. Okay, if you want to see Magic Johnson being criticized, How about you look at the 84 finals when Boston exposed him for being slightly one-dimensional because they just he couldn't fucking buy a basket and he had a lot of fucking turnovers. Look how much he was killed. He was called Tragic Johnson. He was killed by the media then. Jordan was killed the first 7 years of his career because he was not as good as Bird and Magic. He couldn't win. He's not very good. Oscar Robertson saying he's overrated. All these guys, saying he's overrated. Don't make like these motherfuckers had magical fairy tale fucking careers. So get out of here with that bullshit. Tell me what you think about what Charles Barkley said.